to be sure. Okay. All right. What we're going to talk about today, you guys, is where do you even start? Where do you even start to go to look for a job? And there's a lot of places that you can work. And thank you very much for turning on your face. I appreciate it. Glad to see you're wearing a mask. That's great. Are you out in public? Okay, good. Without a mask then. That's perfect. Thank you so much. What's your name? I can't see your name other than M263.
I was trying to be incognito. It's Camille. Hi, John.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. Thank you.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to talk about where to start and everything about what to do when you're getting ready to go and look for a job. So today we're gonna talk about all these different things. We're gonna talk about finding a job. We're gonna talk about first impressions and how important first impressions are. We're gonna talk about the first 20 seconds of getting to know someone when you first meet them. We're going to talk about the importance of body language. And that's a very, very important subject that I'm going to share a lot of information with you about. We're also going to talk about the origination of the handshake and how the handshake got started and why it got started. And the reason we're doing that is it really helps people to understand why a certain handshake should be done in a certain manner. It's makes a huge difference when you're shaking a hand, if you shake a hand correctly or not. And we're going to talk about how to go about doing that. We're going to talk about the elevator speech and what the elevator speech really means. Doesn't really have much to do with an elevator, but it's still called an elevator speech because it takes about 30 seconds to do an elevator speech. And in that 30 seconds, you have the chance to start a conversation with the person. And that really does make a big, big difference. We're also going to talk about voicemail. What is your outgoing voicemail? And how do you leave a voicemail for someone? Very important things about voicemail, because voicemail says an awful lot about you. And also we're going to talk about email and how you have a really, it's important to write a powerful email. And we're going to be able to discover all different kinds of things along that line. First of all, let's talk about finding a job. Finding a job is, you can look on Craigslist, has a lot of really great listings. Different newspapers, your local newspapers are good. LinkedIn, if you're not a member of LinkedIn, I would strongly recommend that you become a member of LinkedIn. It really is a big deal to get you acquainted to people that are in the industry that you may be in, or to know the industry that people would be in. Okay, it's pretty important. And word of mouth is another thing. If you're looking for a job, let people know that you're really out there checking around for a job and looking for a job. And because you can let people know, and you never know who's going to know somebody that is looking for somebody, to put it on social media if you want to. It's really a big help. The more people that know about you looking for a job, the more people are going to be able to help you. You can check in store windows and see if there's a sign in a store window if you want to go into retail of some kind. That's a good way to go. And then Also, you can hire a recruiter or go with a recruiter, and a recruiter doesn't always cost you money. A recruiter, most of the times, the recruiter is paid by the person that hires you. So don't let that scare you off about hiring. When I say hiring a recruiter, it's you get involved with a recruiter and they find you a job, but the fee usually goes to the company that hired you. Anytime that any of you have any questions today, please use the chat box or go ahead and just use your voice. And I'm happy to answer questions as we go along, because I know things come up that you want to know. You want to understand the labor market for the area that you are in, where it is that you are living. What kind of labor market is there? Are you in an area that has a lot of high-tech stuff? Are you in a farming area? Are you, what is the area all about? Is there a lot of retail around? All those things make a difference in how you're going to be able to look for a job. So you want to explore that. What's the primary job market where you are? That's the job market maybe that you're going to want to go after. And more importantly than anything is, what are your interests? You want to be able to find a job that is going to make you happy, because you don't want to spend that much of your day in a job that you just hate. And a lot of people do, unfortunately, work someplace where they don't like working, and going to work every day is a really difficult thing to do. Another thing to think about is, are you an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is someone that wants to do something on their own, that would start their own business. Like myself, I am what is known as an entrepreneur because I love to start businesses. I've been in business, in the business world for now, I hate to say it, but 54 years, because I was in the special event industry for 44 years, and I retired from that and started the Key class 10 years ago. So it's 54 years. My gosh, it's just saying it out loud kills me. But I am an entrepreneur and I love to start businesses, and maybe that's something that you like to do. If you do, I strongly recommend that you find a mentor to help you along with starting a business. It will help you a lot. First impressions really matter. So when you are meeting someone for the first time, you have 20 seconds, and the first 20 seconds of meeting someone are critical, because that's when you make an impression on whether or not somebody is going to like you. Do you know how many of you have just met someone that you just plain didn't like for no reason in particular? You just didn't like that person. You didn't get a good vibe from that person right from the very beginning. Well, that's what happens. And so what you've got to do is be prepared to that first 20 seconds to be able to impress the person that you're meeting. Very important. It can take the rest of your life to change a bad first impression. Body language. This is huge. Your body language says 93% of what you communicate. Only 7% comes from your voice. So how you are acting, if I were to sit back here like this and teach this class, just not like I didn't really care about the class, nobody would enjoy that. you would have the impression that who is this guy that's just, trying to teach me something, and he's all kicked back in his chair and doesn't seem to matter whatsoever. So you've got to be careful about your body language. And remember that people are looking at it a lot. So one thing that you can think about, and this is, you want to avoid having someone think that you're nervous. And by doing that, ladies tend to do this more often than men, but men do it as well. They touch their necks when they get nervous. And it's just a natural human reflex that we do. We will touch or ladies and men both will touch their necks. Or men, a lot of times you'll see a man going like this. Or if they have a beard, they'll play with their beard. It's all because of nervousness. Another thing that men tend to do more than women, but not to say that women don't do it, is jiggle the leg. Jiggling your leg, just with your leg going up and down and up and down and up and down. That's to let off that nervous energy. You want to be careful of that. If you find yourself doing that, try and stop it. Okay? Very important to try and stop it. Any questions about body language? Anything else that you can think of that would make you think about it? Yes, go ahead.
I was just wanted to ask you, this is Camille,
Yes.
what you would suggest as the proper sitting body language if you're in front of a person face to face?
You always want to sit upright and sit straight. And you don't want to slouch, that's for sure. And then you want to keep your hands away from your face. And ladies, I think it's a good idea for you to cross your legs or back your legs behind you. And the same thing with gentlemen. You can cross your leg, but a lot of people will take showing the bottom of your foot as an insult. So you need to be careful of that. So if you do cross your legs, cross it so your feet are facing down towards the floor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was really concerned about, the hands. I do talk with my hands a lot. I don't want to put a fist, but do they just lay there, or should we?
No. Talking with your hands, I do too, a lot. I talk a lot with my hands. There's nothing wrong with talking with your hands. As a matter of fact, it can show your expressions for something. It's a good thing. When you're wringing your hands or something like doing like this, that's a different story. But if you're talking with your hands like this, that's good. It shows confidence, and it shows that you're open to listen. You don't want to sit like this, for instance, with your arms crossed, because when your arms are crossed, you've got a shield on, and you don't want a shield to go over you when you're trying to make a good first impression, or any impression at any time. Did that help you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Now we'll talk about the handshake. The handshake's really interesting. The handshake actually started 2,800 years before Christ, and it started in Egypt. And the way it started was the pharaohs, or Egypt at that point in time, was without a doubt the most powerful country in the world. And the pharaohs were very, very smart people. But all their subjects were, or all the people, I should say, were barbarians. And they would kill each other just for no reason whatsoever. They would just, if you had a piece of fish that I wanted, I'd just kill you and take the fish. I wouldn't ask for the fish. I just would cut right to the chase, so to speak, and go take the fish away from you. And so the pharaohs knew that if they could get people to be friends with each other, they would soon share each other's food with each other. They would share lodging with each other. They would help each other in a lot of ways. And soon they would form tribes, and tribes would make the country more powerful, and that would make the pharaohs richer. And so the way they started it was that most people are right-handed. And so most people would carry a weapon in their right hand. So what they would do is they would show their right hand to each other. Each person would show their right hand to each other. And then they would, you see how they're doing here, showing their right hand, and they've got their weapons, but they're showing their right hand. And then they would have direct eye contact. Very important, the direct eye contact, and grasp each other's hand. When they would grasp the hand, what they would do is, this is your thumb, this is your forefinger, and then you've got this flesh that's in between your thumb and forefinger. That's called the web of your hand. And the web of your hand is where you want to take, when you shake someone's hand, you want to go web to web. See how we've got down here on the web touch? Very important, because then and ladies tend to shake hands with a half a hand. But in business, you should shake a full hand. And when you shake, give a person a firm grip. I don't mean that you have to give them a death grip and make them hurt. You want to just give them a firm grip and not a limp fish kind of a handshake, and look them directly in the eyes. Now, a lot of things, and today, obviously, unfortunately, I should say, with the pandemic, we cannot do nearly as much as we've done in the past as far as shaking hands. So what you would do is put your hands by your side when you meet someone, put them by your side, and then give a slight bow. But when you're giving that slight bow, make sure that you have eye contact. Very important that you have that eye contact, because eye contact means trust. I know that there are a lot of cultures that believe that direct eye contact is not being respectful, but here in this country, it is considered the respectful thing to do, to show people your eyes. Look at somebody directly in the eyes, because you want them to trust you, okay? Any questions on the handshake? Usually I've got a lot of questions about the handshake. It's pretty interesting, I think, the way it got started. Now, an elevator speech. Here we go with the elevator speech. The elevator speech is going to be when, I'm trying to get this to, is when somebody says to you, so tell me a little bit about yourself. First of all, an elevator speech is called an elevator speech because it takes you approximately 30 seconds to go wherever you're wanting to go on an elevator, approximately. And so what your elevator speech or the tell me a little bit about yourself is all about only lasts about 30 seconds. And you want to be ready to answer somebody when they say, tell me a little bit about yourself. You don't want to say, what do you want to know? You want to be able to say something about yourself that's going to be of interest. An example I will give you is when I left the special event industry, which I was in, as I said before, for 44 years, and I went into academia. I had never done academia before. I had done teaching in my own industry, but I had never been a quote unquote teacher. And I was starting the key class it was a new venture for me. And I needed to get people to know me and to know my product and to know what it was that I had that I was out there trying to promote. And so I wrote on little Post-it notes, soft skills, life skills, handshake, resume skills, and so on and so forth, all those different things. And I put them around my bathroom mirror. And I did it until I memorized all those words. I didn't want to memorize a quote unquote speech because I was afraid if I memorized a speech and somebody stopped me in the middle of it, that I wouldn't be able to remember where I was, and I'd have to start all over again. And that's very awkward. So my elevator speech now, whenever I go to someplace like where there's a lot of teachers, or if I were to come into the Workforce Development Board or something, and I was to meet all of you, if somebody said to me, well, tell me a little bit about yourself, I would say, hi, my name is John Daly, and I'm the founder and the instructor for the Key class. The Key class teaches life skills, soft skills, and resume building skills, skills to get ready to go out and look for a job and to keep a job. End of story. That's all I would say. Then somebody's going to say to me, really? Well, where do you teach this? How long have you been doing this? What grade levels do you teach? Or what age levels of people do you teach? And it's going to start a conversation. And that's exactly what you're after with an elevator speech. An elevator speech is super important. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to take a moment, and in the chat box, I'd like you to type 3 things that might be in your elevator speech. Just 3 different things, 3 little facts that you would put in your elevator speech. You go ahead and do that, and then we're going to discuss each of those. I'll give you a minute to do that, please. That's a good one, Janie. Your name and your interests, Ramon. Tell me some of your interests, Ramon. No matter what they might be. Sports, great. Okay. What about you, Camille?
I would say mine would be educational counseling, database reporting, knowledge of the community.
So that really leaves a lot of questions. Tell me about database. Tell me about that.
There are certain reports that we would have to do in order to meet our performance measures every year in order to increase local employment in our community. So we kept track of the individuals by doing eligibility, doing human resources every month to do monthly evaluations with the local employers to see how the person was getting along on the job. And we would have to report this quarterly and yearly
Quarterly.
reports. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's got to keep you busy every single day.
Oh, yes, because we're always doing eligibility, meeting new people. We're still enrolling people in training. We were employing, putting people into training, short-term training. So that's a whole line of business in itself, just doing that.
Uh-huh.
My elevator with speech was actually going for an employment coordinator position. So those are the things I focused on right now, not my current job.
Okay. So if you were going for that, give me your elevator speech. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Camille Romero, and I'm interested in an employment coordinator position with your company. I have extensive experience in educational counseling with local job seekers and in arranging short-term training in order to partner them with local employers who would be willing to hire and train them on the job. I have experience in database reporting, state and federal regulations, contract negotiation, and a proven track record of meeting and or exceeding company performance goals. May I have the name and number of the person hiring for this position and schedule a meeting with him or her? Thank you.
Excellent. That's excellent. Great. Great. Janie, let's hear your elevator speech. No? You got to unmute yourself. Okay. Hi, my name is Jose Limon, is it? Did I pronounce it correctly? I watched the Dodgers game the other day. It's pretty neat. We can still watch sports. Yes, it is. This Zoom is fun and we're getting creative without virtual contact. How is that going to be? How is that going for you doing that type of virtual meeting at your work? What do you do? That's really interesting to ask people. What's virtual learning like for all of you? I did this the other day. I was teaching high school kids, actually, and I asked them, I'd be really interested to hear from you now, and you can type it. You don't have to say it, Janie. But I would like you to type in what you think of virtual training, Zoom training. How has it affected you? And do you like the training end of it, or would you prefer to do a different type? What is best for you? Janie, I agree with you. It's very stressful. Yes. And I miss the face-to-face as well. I'm a people person. I'm a touchy-feely people person, as a matter of fact, and I like that. Takako, you feel the same way. You miss the meeting up with people. Yes. It's very different, isn't it, Camille? And here Rosie says the same thing, that it's a personable contact, that I like seeing people. Right. Jessica says it's convenient. It's convenient, but Jessica, I'm asking, do you feel that do you learn as well from this as you do in person? It's harder. Yes. I think it's harder. It's harder to be able to communicate with people. However, it sure beats nothing. And I think that people are getting, someone wrote in here before that it's getting easier, and it is getting easier. People are beginning to make it easier. One of the things that really is, like, I practically begged all of you at the very beginning to please show me your face, because it makes it so much easier to talk. And also, if anybody was looking for a job and you're not showing your face, or you're showing half your face, or you're showing the ceiling in your room, like, all of a sudden that's all you're looking at, that's not too good. It's very important, I believe, to show the face. And you're right, Rosie, it's becoming the new normal. But I think that people are all going to be very happy when it changes back. When we can go back and be with people again. Let's talk about voicemail. There's Rosie. Hi, Rosie. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good. It's good to see your face.
Good to see you too.
So, outgoing voice message. What is the outgoing voice message on your phone? Is it the automatic voice message, the robot talking, or is it you leaving a message? Let's see. You do a personal greeting, Rosie?
Yes.
I think that's great. It makes a difference. And do you leave your name on that?
Yes, I do.
Very important. And always leave your name on your outgoing voice message. And the reason you do that is that you want to have people make sure that they're getting a hold of the right person. You never know when they can or not. What about you, Jose or Ramon? Let's hear from you guys.
Yes. What kind of personal message I would leave?
No, what is it? What does your voice message, your outgoing voice message, say at this point in time?
At this point in time, well, since I work at the Department of Rehabilitation, and since right now we're teleworking certain days, I put in my voice message that I'm not available Mondays and Wednesdays in the office, and they should leave a short message in order for them to be able to get their needs and concerns added onto the message system, so that I can check it out a different day when I'm in the office.
That's good. That's very good. So you give them a lot of information for questions that they may already ask, or
Correct.
So you've taken care of that. You've made it much easier for the person after they've gotten information from you. That's really a good thing. Really.
Can I share? Can I share something?
Oh yes, please.
Well, I was just thinking, hi, Jose, this is Janie. We've been working together for a while, but we didn't know who each other was. So I just wanted to share how cool it was, because we're at this training that DOR is here too. And we can say hi to him, even though we're not together, we're at the same training.
Correct. It's easy how these.
There you are.
Yes, I'm right here. Hi. Hi. Hello.
All right, a name to the face.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Yes. You're making my life so much easier. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I was paying attention, but I was also attending to a matter virtually. So just FYI, that's
Uh-huh.
why I had my video.
You're multitasking.
Correct. You know, some people say that doesn't work. Sometimes it does.
Sometimes it works. Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
I
Thanks,
still don't.
John. Thanks for letting me interrupt.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you did. Please do at any time that you feel ready, that you got something that you want to say. I really say it. That's what it's normally when I'm doing an in-person class, it's much more of like a conversation than it is me just talking like nonstop. It makes it's much more interactive. I don't know if any of you have ever seen me do it an in-person class or not, but I've been doing them for years, so it's just different, and I never sit still either.
You know what, John? We've heard that you're really good in person.
Oh, is that right? Well, I hope that I'm meeting your expectations on Zoom.
Yeah, it's getting
you
better
are.
now.
It's getting better. Great. I'm glad to hear that. That's
I
wonderful.
love your classes, John.
Thanks, Rosie. I appreciate it very much. So, when you are leaving a voice message for someone, very important that you leave your phone number. And don't just call somebody and if they don't answer, hang up and have it be a missed call. I know personally that if I get a missed call, I don't return those calls. I wait, if somebody has something important that they need to say to me, I want them to leave a message, even if it's just, hey, John, give me a call back. This is Jose. Then that's enough, but something. And when you leave your phone number, this is really important. When you leave your phone number, you want to do it in a manner that is slowly enough for someone to write it down. Like when I give my phone number, I say, my telephone number is 805 452 2747. That's made it easier for the person to write it down than if I say 805 452 2747. And a lot of people do that, but it makes it that much more difficult. And you don't want to make it difficult for people to call you back. You want to leave a message, or your outgoing voice message wants to be professional sounding the same way as when you leave a message for somebody, you want it to be professional sounding. I'm talking about a business setting here, obviously. I think that you all understand what I'm talking about there. Let's talk a little bit about email and what your email address is. You can see that on one side, we've got this surferdude00@gmail.com. And then on the other one, we've got jparker@gmail.com. Surfer Dude, if you like to surf, I think that's great. Go ahead and surf and send that all you want to people that you're not looking for a job from. If you're looking for a job, have something that is much more professional sounding than Surfer Dude, because what you're going to do is you're going to have people think that all you think about is the surf. And maybe that is all you think about, but you don't want people to know that when you're looking for a job. Okay? When you write an email, it's very important to know that you are spelling a person's name correctly. So I don't know this or not, Rosie, but I'm going to use you as an example just because there's different ways that we could spell your name. Your email address may be R. Ballesteros.
Correct.
That could be what your email address is. If I'm writing to you, I don't want to write Dear Rosie unless I know that you spell your name Rosie. Because if you get an email from me that is Dear Rosy, right off the bat, you're going to think, gosh, this person doesn't even care about how I spell my name. It's a very important thing that you spell their name correctly.
Or when they change your name, John, they just assume you like to be called a certain way. I don't like that.
Yes, yes.
They shorten your name.
I say it again, please.
They shorten your name. Even
Yes.
if you write your full name, they shorten it.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
No, no. And now, do you, when you're referred to in business, are you referred to as Ms.,
Mrs.
Mrs.?
Mm-hmm.
Most often, ladies in business, even if they're married, are referred to as Ms.
Oh, okay.
So if you're
I was going to say, don't let her fool you. She's Rosie all around.
Yeah.
That's great. I guess somebody knows you, Rosie, pretty well here. So you want to write an email as though you're writing a letter. It is a letter of sorts, but you always want to start it off with a dear Rosie or dear Miss Ballesteros.
Oh, okay.
You want to start it off that way, and you want to make sure that you spell out words. Like you don't want to say, "Are you coming tonight?"
Oh, okay.
You want to spell out Areyu. Not even. You might do that with friends or something like that. You might do it, but not on a business letter. And a lot of people confuse that by writing it on a business letter. I've received it. I believe it or not, I have gotten, when I was looking for an assistant here at the Key class, I got email letters from people that everything was misspelled and said things like "are you" instead of Areyu. Are you your company teaching in different schools? Are you teaching in different schools? What? This is somebody that I'm going to have come on board of an etiquette teaching class. This is the last thing I want, is somebody that's going to be talking in a manner in that way to people. Always sign off. A lot of people don't sign an email, and that's okay if you've got a conversation going with somebody on a regular, back and forth conversation going. That's okay. But if you're just starting off something, always sign your name and always put something in the subject line. And as you're having your conversation with a person on email, if the subject changes, change the subject line, because that gives the person a heads up of where you're going with this particular conversation, okay? It makes a big difference. It really does make a big, big difference. Any questions on emails? I think that they're really important in today's world. That is the new normal. Absolutely. But don't let it replace like a thank you note. If you write a thank you note on email, I think that's wonderful. But also handwrite a thank you note, I think is important. Okay? So that's your powerful and your meaningful email, is to really get to the subject and address the subject. You don't want to go on and on and on. Get to the point, especially in business, and do it from there. So here we go. Here's our review. Here's your chance to ask more questions if you have any more. Finding a job, first impressions. Any questions about first impressions? Everybody's got it pretty well down, I'm sure. Okay. How about the first 20 seconds? Did anybody know that prior to? Let's see a thumbs up if you knew it prior to. Oh, that's good that you knew that before, Camille. That's great. Okay. It's very important, that first 20 seconds. It's a human phenomena. It's been tested. Harvard Business School and so on and so forth, they've all tested it. It's pretty amazing. The handshake and body language, how important body language is. Everybody's got that pretty well down. And then the elevator speech. We had a great time with the elevator speech. Thank you very much. That was great. And the voicemail. The voicemail, any questions on voicemail? Or emails. I just asked you about emails, and I guess you have all got that. Well, you guys, showing your faces was worth $1 million. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. It really makes a huge difference. Anything I can do for you as of here?
Thank you, John.
Thank you,
You're
John.
very welcome, Janie.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will see you next time, and we'll be doing, I think we're talking about resumes next. Well, all of you have took the resume class before, but you may pick up something new. You never know. Okay? Thank you again.
Thank you,
And I
John.
will
Okay, bye-bye.
sign off if no one has any questions for me. Bye-bye.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.